You know, it feels like the old guard has fell with the amount of hate Juilliard and Berkeley has been receiving. And I'm here to answer the question. Is it valid or are people just kind of hating to hate per usual? Well, I feel like first things first, we gotta go through the list of things that people are hating on. And number one is the tuition. Let's be real, it's stupid expensive to go to these schools. The tuition, if you wanna go to Juilliard, is like 60, 70 G's, bro. And that's USD. If you are anybody that's not an American citizen, it goes even higher. I'm pretty sure it can reach like 100 G's for a single year of tuition, which includes like residency and all these things. And is that really fair? Like, let's really think about it. When you pay a lot of money to go to school or do anything, you're expecting an ROI, a return on your investment, right? So if I pay $100,000 to go to medical school and I incur debt, I expect to at least make that money back once I'm in the field and some more, right? That's my return on investment. If I become a doctor, my salary is however much where I can pay off that debt. The thing with being an artist is that usually doesn't happen. A lot of us are just gonna quit music and do something else. I mean, that's just the reality of things. Not everybody can be an artist. So paying $100,000 for a single year of school to not get that money back, it just seems stupid. And then comes number two, right? Everything's connected to the money. Is the amount you're paying represented in the amount of facility and faculty that you are receiving? For example, if you go to Juilliard, you pay a stupid amount of money. What do you expect to get in return? You probably expect world-renowned teachers, people who have been in the industry for a long time, who are very successful. You expect workshops with masters, things like this. You know, recording studio time that's probably paid and free. You're probably also expected to be able to use high quality equipment that you probably wouldn't be able to get your hands on otherwise. You know, all this factors into your tuition. And if you can do all these things, then it kind of makes sense. You can kind of justify why you're paying this much money. You know, maybe the practice rooms are really nice. But if you don't receive both of these things, you can see why the hate might be valid. So let's start with Berkeley. Specifically from this guy, Mr. Namaste guy. And I'm not gonna lie, this boy hates on everything, and I think his content is hilarious because he's trying to rage bait people, but at the same time, it's actually his opinion. But he struck a nerve when he started talking about Berkeley people. And I think to an extent, it's true. The faculty at Berkeley, I can't speak on them, but the amount you're paying, you expect to at least get some legendary musicians that are world renowned. I'm gonna tell you personally, if I'm paying $90,000 to go to school, I'm expecting to see the best of the best. Oscar Peterson resurrected from the grave and teaching me. That's what I'm expecting. But if I'm getting someone who's locally known around the scene or something like that, it just doesn't justify the amount of money I'm paying. Well, then I hear a lot about Berkeley is that you go there for the connections, right? My rebuttal is, can't you just do that by going out, playing in different clubs, meeting people? Effectively, it's the same thing. Maybe it's easier to do if you're in school, but eventually you'll meet people who go to that school and then you get connections that way. Overall, I just can't seem to justify the price that they put next to this program. Also, like the arts, it's so expensive for what reason? And all this might be cool if every single music school was doing this. If all art schools in general were very expensive, then I could see, okay, maybe this is just a general trend. It doesn't make sense to me, but if everybody else is doing it, perhaps there's a bigger reason why. Plug in Curtis. Curtis is a school that's totally free, but instead the admission process is very difficult and they only take a handful of students every year. So it's just extremely hard to get into the school, but everything else is paid for. Your tuition, your residency, your lessons, everything is completely paid upfront for. But then the opposite of that is Juilliard, where you have to pay a stupid, abhorrent amount of money to even go. That's when it gets a little weird for me. Because one school is able to do it for free, and I get it, they have less students, for sure. But then why is this school so much more expensive? It's not just art schools in general. Here, like even in Canada, they're relatively cheap. If you're a Canadian resident, it's much different if you're a student coming from abroad. That's when it gets stupid expensive again. But if you have a Canadian citizenship, it's not too expensive to go to a pretty good music school. So then again, I come back to the question of, is this justified? Is the price justified? And I have to say no, because you're not gonna make that money back most likely. And if you do, you're one of how many students that are gonna be able to do that. I just feel like it's really weird and predatory. It's just been something that's been on my mind for a while. I don't know. I don't know what you guys think. Maybe there are a few Berkeley students who are gonna watch this video, and y'all can let me know that it's actually really worth it. And maybe there's a few Juilliard students that can do the same. You can enlighten me, because I've never been, but I just can't seem to justify a reason why. And I think we should talk about it and talk about lowering that tuition, because there's no reason for them to make that much money on people who want to create. Yeah, well, that's all I have to say, so consider subscribing and peace.